Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Tuesday, July 8th. So we have the moon in Sagittarius energy here all day. However, the moon is in the void. Another very long window of time that the moon is just kind of floating around, doing its thing, giving us a lot of time to sit with our emotions, to question things from a different perspective. Now, the moon in Sagittarius is trying to stay as optimistic, as positive, as confident as possible. We're trying to pluck out the silver linings. We're trying to expand our vision, expand our opportunities, our possibilities for the future. But in the void, again, we are just having to observe. There isn't a whole lot of actions that we can be taking right now. We just have to work on alignment. Alignment with our own truth, with our own belief system, with what we believe we can actually achieve, especially when it comes to new goals, visions, and dreams. Now, there's only 5 different aspects popping off here today, which is a relatively quiet day in the cosmos. 4 of those aspects are going to involve the moon. Now, the moon, right out of the gate, we're in the void, so we have to consider the fact that, again, things are a little bit shaky, unstable, uncertain. The moon in the Sagittarius energy is going to make a very harsh interaction with the sun in Cancer energy. And again, a lot of this friction, this conflict, is because emotionally speaking, we want to fast forward through the present moment and get to where it is that we desire to be. The sun in Cancer, of course, is overly attached to the past. We have a lot of emotions, a lot of thoughts, ideas, situations, and circumstances that we have to revisit, reflect upon in order to come to a certain term of acceptance so that we can release that energy and leave it in the past where it belongs. So anytime that the sun and the moon are coming together, there's going to be an aha moment. There's going to be a new level of an emotional awareness of what we want, what we need, what we desire, and what we need to do to get it. Now, we desire truth, we desire authenticity, we desire freedom, we desire fun. But the Cancer energy that the sun is currently in is showing us where it is that the foundation of being able to house all of those new wants, needs, and desires needs to be built, especially in our inner realm. Emotionally speaking, our nervous systems are fried. Emotionally speaking, we're overly attached to the past. Emotionally speaking, we are not feeling as safe and secure and stable as we would prefer, as we would like, and it's pretty hard to build a new realm and reality on a shaky ass foundation. So although this is a harsh interaction, it's going to illuminate for us what we don't want, what we don't need, what we no longer desire. And when we have those realizations, we can start kind of eliminating, releasing, purging, detaching from the aspects that don't match our futuristic vision and dream. The moon in this void, in the Sagittarius energy, is going to semi-square, again, does not feel good, this time with Pluto. Pluto being the great transformer, he is retrograde, so the energy is internalized. It's an Aquarius energy, so we're trying to kind of examine, analyze, reassess where the fears, doubts, and insecurities are alive and well within us, where the self-sabotaging program is alive and well within us, because the Aquarius energy has us focused on where it is that we want to end up in the future, but we have to recognize where our programming is limiting that. Meaning we have old programs still running. We have limitations and restrictions that we have basically put on our own damn selves. And those particular levels of awareness have to kind of be triggered and activated so that we have the choice to flip the script. This is very much a power struggle within ourselves. This is very much a realization of where it is that we feel out of control with some of the situations and circumstances taking place in the external realm. Therefore, the energy needs to be focused on the inner realm. What do we have power and control over to change within ourselves, especially where limiting beliefs are concerned, in order for us to, again, flip the script, rewrite that programming, and at least set us up for the potentiality of being able to get to where it is that we desire to be. We then have the one aspect that does not involve the moon. It's a pretty interesting one. We have Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information, communication, how it is that we express ourselves. Now, he is slowing down because he is in his pre-retrograde shadow period. He is in Leo energy, the heart and soul of the zodiac. So there is this heart and head recalibration going on with just this particular position. And we're speaking a lot of truth. We have some big ideas that we would like to share. We have some, exciting type of possibilities bouncing around in our headspace that we just are excited about. We want to take action. We want to make moves in order to actually pursue them, at least initiate the path of direction that could get us there. We have Mercury interacting with Uranus. Now, Uranus, the Great Awakener, he is just fresh in this Gemini energy. We just shifted into this Gemini energy here yesterday. So we haven't had time to adjust to this, to alchemize the energies that are being triggered and activated in our headspace and in our physical body. Uranus had potentially been sitting at this 29 critical crisis karmic degree of Taurus energy for like the last week to 2 weeks-ish, which meant that there's a lot of energy going through our physical bodies. And it's been exhausting. And now that the energy is now in the headspace in Gemini energy, there is a semi-relief that I think we're starting to feel in the physical form, not being as heavy and weighted and as exhausted as we have been. But now there's like a certain level of chaos and craziness taking place in our headspace. And we have not had time to adjust to this particular energy. Now let's just talk about this for a second. Uranus is the higher octave of our intellect, connecting us with the higher realms of intelligence. It is pushing us into new levels of awareness and consciousness all the time, right? This is why he's the Great Awakener. He throws lightning bolts at us, curve balls, wild card energies. He likes to shake things up, wake things up so that we can challenge the old ideas, the old perspective, the old narratives. We have the highest realm of our intellect, Uranus, and Mercury, who rules over the lower level of our intellect, working together to get on the same page, to see things from a different lens. But we also have to consider the fact that Uranus, fresh in this Gemini energy that Mercury actually rules over, there's a little bit of an intensity here, and it may feel like our brains are bubbling. It may feel like there is a fuzziness, a vibration, a tremor going on in our headspace. There's a rapid firing of different ideas, concepts, perspectives, and we can't quite keep our focus, our concentration on one of them to see them into completion. We're kind of jumping all over the place. Now, we are dealing with air and fire. We have Leo energy, which is a fire sign. We have Gemini energy, which is an air sign. So this means that there's going to be a spark, a fire, a flame. There's going to be an epiphany, a revelation, if you will. Specifically, now that we are removing the partition in our brains to allow the higher realm of intelligence to work with the lower realm of intelligence, there's going to be some epiphanies, some revelations, some pop-offs that are going to change the game. Going to change the game to the extent that suddenly we are either seeing the steps being revealed on how it is that we're going to move on and move forward, or we are seeing a perspective shift, meaning situations, circumstances that we were banging our head against walls. Suddenly there's clarity. Suddenly there's insight. Either way, there is a lot of pressure in the head. We are working overtime in that headspace, and we're trying to build and cultivate this new level of excitement, this new level of motivation, determination in our heart space in order to see particular ideas actually come into fruition. So this is an interesting dynamic that, again, going to take a little bit of time to actually feel comfortable in. Specifically, I'm talking about Uranus being in this Gemini energy. But nonetheless, we have a very, very distinct awareness that something has shifted in our thoughts, in our inner dialogue, in our perspective, and in the ideas and the potentialities that, of course, we are still debating between as far as what it is that we want to be doing in order to kind of adopt a different path, a different direction for us to be walking in. So, of course, with that huge amount of insight, with that huge amount of newness, there's got to be something that's going to kind of F it up and going to knock the wind out of our sails, of course. And that means that the moon in Sagittarius energy, again, in the void, is going to get in the boxing ring, square off with the North Node in Pisces. So a square doesn't feel good. It does highlight a growing pain. And right now we're questioning our future. We're questioning the path. We're questioning what it is that we should be doing with ourselves. And realistically speaking, the moon in the Sagittarius energy wants to take action and make moves, wants to jump from one thing to the next, wants to be on a new quest, a new adventure. that North Node in Pisces energy is like, you know what? You need to calm down and trust the process, okay? You need to just sit your ass down, calm the ants in your pants, and allow the answers in which you are trying to force and control and which you're seeking to come to you, okay? So this is a realization that the growing pain that we're going through is essentially part of us, the masculine energy, trying to push and force and control a situation when realistically what is being asked of us is to move into the feminine energy and be in receiver mode. That information, that insight, that clarity, the next move will be revealed to you when it's time. So instead of going out in the world and jumping into one thing and creating a mess here and creating anxiety here and doing all of the things that aren't resulting in the information in which you're actually seeking, instead of doing all of that, you could just be working on your inner truth, your inner alignment, your inner belief system, the inner realm recalibration that needs you to realize where and when it is appropriate to force energies, and when and where it's appropriate to step back and let those energies bring to you what it is that you need to know at the time in which you need to know it. This is a struggle that many of us are going through. And a lot of this is because we're in the pause, we're in the void. And when there's no action and when we're feeling uncertain and unstable, what do? We try to make things happen. We seek that clarity. We seek those answers. And that is just forcing a situation that isn't ready to unfold as of yet. So this takes place at 10:38 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We sit in that questionable energy. We sit with that teeter-totter back and forth of what it is that we need to do versus what it is that we kind of, should be doing, which again, what we need to do is to set our asses down, take a time out, and just kind of observe. What we feel like we want to do is to push and to force and to make things happen. We sit in this energy until 11:04 p.m. Eastern Standard Time when we have our very last aspect of the day. And quite honestly, we only have 2 positive aspects popping off here. We already had one between Mercury and Uranus. We have the moon in this void in Sagittarius energy trining, which is a beautiful interaction with Chiron, the wounded healer in Aries energy. So this is fire on fire action. We love that for us because it's going to help kind of burn off, if you will, a lot of the energy, the restlessness, the ants in our pants. It's going to burn through the cords of attachment that we have to wanting to control things, wanting to force things. It's going to burn through the junk and the gunk of the emotional residue that we're trying to process in a way that feels a little bit more, I'm going to say, stable and comfortable than some of the energies that we've been experiencing over the last couple of days. And that fire energy is then going to renew and restore our faith and our trust in the process. So Chiron, being the wounded healer, he's being aspected in a beautiful way, which means that we're leaning into realizing now that this challenge that we're going through, this growing pain that we're going through, this uncertainty that we're going through, this pause that we're sitting in, this is an opportunity for growth. This is an opportunity to heal. This is an opportunity to rest and realign and recover some of the energies that we've just been burning through because, again, we have ants in our pants and we're out in the world trying to make things happen when they're not ready to happen just yet. So although it is a quote unquote quiet day in the cosmos, there's a lot of triggers and activations for us to be sitting in because, again, with the moon in this void, we are kind of floating from one energy to another, to one thought to another, to one emotion to another, trying to make sense of things, trying to get the deeper meaning, the deeper purpose out of why it is that we're currently struggling, why it is that we're currently confused, where it is that we're supposed to go from here. When realistically speaking, the 2 positive aspects that are popping off here today, one of them's going to open our mind in a big way and definitely give us a different perspective to kind of mull over. And then B, that final interaction towards the end of the day is going to reassure us that everything is okay, that we're exactly where it is that we need to be. And when we release the control issues that we have, we can sit in this surrender type of energy, we can observe, and we have an opportunity to, again, get organized in our inner realm, really sit with ourselves, really understand what our truth is, what our belief system is, and what our current plan actually is as well. Also, reminder, we still don't have all the information. We are about to approach the full moon in Capricorn here in just a couple of days, and that is going to bring a full illumination of the information, the details that we're currently lacking. So patience is the name of the game. None of us were born with it. None of us have been able to figure out where to purchase it online, which means that we have to really be put in a position to test our energy management. How much control do we have over our headspace, over our heart space, and over our actions?